Hi everyone, welcome to my second episode. So this is the 26th of December and Rumusha, I'm at the rural areas. I was sitting with my cousins and my brothers and my sisters, but then I got really uncomfortable with the way I was sitting, and I had to come in the course that I take. I'm still trying to adjust to crowds, specifically crowds and the pressure and excitement because of the seizures and all the other things that comes with all the injuries and stuff. So first comes the discomfort, the headaches, and all that. Anyway, today we are in episode number 2. We're going to talk about the pain. I remember I had a talk with my sister one day, talking about my experience pain-wise during this period, and I remember I could not hold myself, but I'm hoping today I will be able to do so. So generally, I'm finding it hard to find some degree of privacy, but these videos are going to be so raw. Probably maybe the most perfect video will be my last video, but either way, today I'm going to talk about the pain. So I got generally, when I did the impact, the car that I was using had no belts, so I had a head-on and my chest went onto the wheel. So I hit the wheel, my head hit the window, and I think the top. Okay, I don't know what hit who, where hit what, but then, the cartilage, something that is here, the chest, mine is broken. And I had some fractures on my backbone, and I had a lot of head injuries. I had some internal bleeding, some bruises and stuff, bruises on my lungs. I had, mostly, and the biggest part was the brain and the chest, So those are the parts that I really got injured. So going into the hospital, I remember the first scans and x-rays that I got did not show nothing, any broken bones or anything. That was when I was still in Buri, and then I was moved to Harare the second day. By that time, I can't talk, I can't move. I'm just making this moaning, groaning sound of pain. That's the only thing that I'm doing. And I remember they were trying to look for the closest ambulance that was quick so that I can go and get admitted in Harare as fast as possible. And while they were looking for it, my manager was around and he had a single cab. I don't remember which make, if it's still an Isuzu or what, but he had a canopy, and they said, let's put in pillows and mattresses and let's take it to Harare, than for us to wait again for some hours for the car to come in and carry her. So they put in the pillows and stuff. When I was driving, it would take me about an hour to get from Harare to Buri. But that was a very long journey. It was full of pain. I felt every bump. I felt every gear, every brake, every what. I felt it. I felt it on me. I was crying the whole journey. I was just crying the whole journey, and because no sound was coming out of me, you could only see the tears. And in my head, I was like, how can I comprehend this pain? How best can I explain how I'm feeling right now? Because they even they injected me some painkiller. But at that point, the pain that I was in was not a pain easy kind of level of pain. I was at a morphine, pethidine kind of pain. and I had not yet been administered those medications. The pain was just a lot. I get to party. I'm being moved from the single cab onto the stretcher, and so are they taking me to the CT scans? They're taking me to the X-rays. They're taking me to the scan, the ultrasounds. All the time, I'm just feeling like, Mari, are you going to put me at a point where I'll have to choose between this pain and nothing? Like, I'm telling you, there's a pain which you will feel, or which you will experience, or which you have experienced, or okay, there's a level and type of pain that will make you choose other things because it's so unbearable and you cannot explain it. And it's worse when you're unable to put it in words, and when people don't know how best they can handle you, because they so far they don't know like which part of you has been hurt. They're just doing what they can. Just doing what they can. They're just doing what they can. I remember getting into the hospital, and I kept on doing this. Like, at this point, the x-rays were showing like fractures on the ribs, the diaphragm, the cartilage that is here, and like nothing much was said, but I had this pain. I remember getting into party after going to MSC, doing the x-rays and the scans, and going into party, and then as soon as I got there, they taking obs. As soon as they took the obs, I saw them coming with the oxygen thingy, connecting the oxygen. I was like, oh, this is another level of drama. This is another level. No, oxygen, what? You know, I used to see people on oxygen on TV. This time it was me. And I don't think I was ready for it. I didn't even know what was going on at that time. I didn't know whether it was night or day. I didn't know. Okay, I was not taking anything to eat, so just grows. The pain just grows. So when I got to party, they started injecting me morphine after every 4 hours. I was getting morphine after every 4 hours. I think I started by getting 10 mils of morphine every 4 hours, 10 mils of morphine every 4 hours. And then that morphine is the one that would make me relax for like an hour or so. And then the cycle of the pain would start again. I couldn't turn to the right or to the left. I was just in one position, and then they would bring pillows to support me the other side. And then pillows to support me the other side, because I couldn't say anything and I had minimum movement. People would just assume, but I think she's now tired with this side. Let's put pillows on the other side. I felt in my heart, I thought about the people who can't speak. I thought about the people who can't express themselves verbally, and I was like, is this how they feel when people finish their sentence and assume what they're saying, yet it's not what they're saying? I would want to watch, and someone would say, I think she's tired of sitting with the bed. Let's put it down. I'm like, no, so that then pushed me to learn how to use my phone and type, because my left side was literally paralyzed. It was not working. Only my right side was working. So I tried to type with my right hand then, and it was a pain. But then it helped my left hand to quickly adjust and get over the pain, like the pain of the injury. Although I couldn't feel it, but I could hold my phone, barely hold my phone. So anyway, let's go to the chest pain. As soon as I got into party, they introduced me to physiotherapy. To me, physiotherapy was like sent by the devil, an entity of the enemy. Because that moment when she would let me touch the floor, and I couldn't feel that I'm on the floor, and then I couldn't breathe, and I then kept on saying, no, I want to do physio. I kept on doing like. Little did I know that I had blood and fluids that were accumulating between my chest and my lungs. And there were breaths on my lungs. I couldn't take deep breaths. I was breathing very shallow. My oxygen levels were very low. So they then brought in a specialist, a respiratory specialist. As soon as he took hold of my x-rays, he said we need to put chest drains immediately because she's not breathing and we don't know what that will do because of there's so much blood and fluids between her ribs and her lungs. And the next thing I'm getting chest drains. Chest drains were one of my worst nightmares because they thought they had injected me. They thought they had injected me, but they had not injected me. Like, okay, the anesthetic that injected me had not yet responded, you know. So I remember groaning from the inside as that guy cut like an opening from the fifth rib or what. It was crazy.
Good evening. Still between the 6th of December. This happens to be the longest episode because I'm going to try and crash and summarize the pains that I went through, and also in the long run just put in pointers of what would encourage me to sail through the pain of those experiences. So I've talked about the chest drains. When I was in Paris, those were my worst nightmare because they just made the whole experience very painful. I remember feeling the whole coil of the pipe on top of my lungs as I tried to breathe. I could feel my lungs pressing against those pipes curled inside of me, and I said to myself, what will be the end of this? It was that painful. But I'm grateful to God that who knew what could have become of me if God did not, you know, cause that specialist to be called and to come and attend to that problem that I was having at that time. Um, After those chest drains were removed, my breathing improved. But the day that I knew that I wasn't looking really good, I remember I was one visiting, and one visitor who came to see me, he just got to the door, looked at me, and screamed and started crying. I don't know what she was seeing, but I just said to myself, oh God, do I look that bad? I mean, I guess it was that dramatic. Imagine you seeing two pipes coming from both sides. Person is on oxygen, on drips, and all those things. I remember that time I also had a corset, but on this day when I had chest drains for a week, they removed the corset because you cannot put on the corset while you get chest drains. Okay, that's enough about the chest drains. So one of the pains besides the chest drains was the failure to sleep. Um, I was not sleeping. So um, I was failing to sleep. I literally had the accident playing again and again in my head, and I kept on saying, it seems like nothing really serious happened, but why is it like it's getting worse by the day? Why is it getting worse? Why am I getting worse by the day? So one of the greatest hits when it came to pain and party was the dreams. I used to, even if I sleep like for a few minutes, I would have some terrible dreams, and they would leave me, you know, struck with fear and all sorts of feelings. I remember one night I was with my other sister. She was the one staying with me throughout the night that day, and I was just trying to relax. And I remember breathing, like seeing the oxygen pipe was right beside me. I could see the bubbles, but I felt myself getting short of air. I could see the bubbles showing that I'm breathing in, But inside of me, like on my nose, I felt like there was no oxygen coming. And I was like, oh, where is the oxygen going? At that moment, I had like a moment of feeling like my life is ending, and it just it was just so tense, you know. It was just so tense, and my heart was beating so fast. It was beating so fast because I looked up and the bubbles were going, but I could feel like I'm running short of air, like, you know, and my body was being pulled. This came in after a dream. I was having a dream, and in this dream, I was like, there seemed to be like a wind that was pulling me, and in this dream, I felt like I was being pulled by this wind, and this wind was not letting me go, and I was walking against the wind. So as I woke up and like woke up scared and fighting in that dream, that's when I felt like oxygen was running out of oxygen physically in reality. Looked at the pipe, the bubbles were going on, but inside of me I felt no, there is no air that is getting inside of me. And I was like, so this is it. This is after all the planning, after all the things that I thought I was able to do, that I was about to do, that I was planning to do. This is how it ends. I remember just hitting the bed so that my eye signal, my sister who was standing it. I called and they just took her hand with my right hand and placed it on my heart. She was like, Kondi, what's going on? Your heart seems like it wants to come out of you. I was like, she said, should we pray? I said, let's pray. And then as she was praying, my tears were just dropping. I was like, she's probably just praying to say, Mary, just make it easy for her. I don't know. At this point, what I would want someone to know is when you are sick, when you are sick, you're in the hospital or you're facing a certain difficulty, you are at a very vulnerable position. Spiritually, you're vulnerable. Physically, you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable in many senses and very sensitive at the same time. Your vulnerability makes you very sensitive, and it also makes you like exposes you. You can easily sense stuff, you can easily feel stuff, it can easily affect you, you know. But there is a God in heaven that I know, and when I survived that night, all the other nights that came with so much pain, and as it got worse, I just said that was the time when I was supposed to die. And I remember soon after that, a lot of people, a lot of my relatives, some of them who dream, some of them who see visions, and some of them who receive prophetic word, they would come and tell me, God loves you. When I saw this, I saw you, Chidofa, like you were dying, but here you are. And I'll just look at them and say, wow. Like survival of that moment gave me the courage to face the next moment and say, if it's not going to be as terrifying as that moment, then I'm okay. I think I will saw through. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but during those days I will still be alive, and I'll see the day as it goes. Yeah, yeah. So when I was in Paris, the doctor was seeing me. Said that he was out of ideas and he thought I was supposed to be discharged. But then my uncle came in and said, no, we cannot go home with someone who cannot walk, who cannot talk. And who is still having a lot of pain, healing from the wounds of the drains. Let me call some of my friends. Was this my uncle? He's a dentist. So good, if you're going to watch this, at this moment you got sent. Because all the things that I then experienced in Dandaro in my head, I'm like, if I was really discharged and went home, my parents were going to literally die with all this drama going on and with an incomplete like not even at a safe mode of recovering. It was just so dramatic. So I moved to Dandero. And when I moved to Dandero, the first thing that the doctor did, who was a neurosurgeon, first thing he discovered when he admitted me was that I had an active bleeding in my head. I had a lot of scars, a lot of injuries. And one of this bleeding was, some of this active bleeding was the one that was suppressing my senses, causing my left side not to function very well, and also suppressing my speech. So the first thing he did was to treat my speech. He gave me some medication. I was on drips for some strong drugs. By the way, when I left Pari, I was now on 25 mils every 4 hours on pethidine because the pain kept on, the cycles kept on coming, the convulsions kept on coming, and they were not ending. So they upped my dose. It was on 25 mils every 4 hours. I became a real drug dealer or whichever, drug taker, a drugger. When I was there. So when I went to Dandaro now, they put me on pethidine, and I think I started with a 30 or a 50, 70. I don't know. It was so much. That's one thing I know. And I was getting this dose after physiotherapy because I was also doing speech therapy. Yeah, which also gave me a lot of pain because I could imagine that I was being taught to say of A, E, O, the vowels. Imagine. With all the little education that I'd acquired, I was starting from A. Hey, this God. Jesus Christ. But then one of the pains in Dandaro was that I came from, when I was in Pare, the last week in Pare, that's when I started taking like butternut soup. But the first 2.5 weeks I was not eating, I was just taking juice, and some supplement, Nestle supplement for energy. But because I had muscle spasm, my throat was narrowed, very narrow. I couldn't open my jaws, they had been hit, so I couldn't chew, I couldn't swallow properly. So I had to take a lot of drips and a lot of liquid. So it was just juice and some supplement. I don't remember what the name of the supplement I was taking for energy. Yeah. So I get in, I started getting pethidine, started doing physio. Physio was painful. Physio was painful. I remember there were girls coming in for physio. Every part of me was painful. So it's like they come in and then they just read, there are no any big bones broken, but my muscles and those edges that were bruised on my bones, they were giving me so much pain. And when someone comes in with an ignorant approach, it would really destroy me because they'll just handle me and they're like, you're going to be fine. The more the pain, the better. I'm like, no, I'm in pain. I'm not taking this anymore. So I would always fear the mornings because I knew if it's now morning, then I'm going to have physio and I'm not going to eat. And then I'm going to have pethidine injection and it's going to help me to sleep for a while and take away the pain for some few minutes. But the failure to eat was now destroying me because I was taking very strong drugs. I had multiple injections. I got to the extent where I would ask for an injection, like literally, please inject me. I can't do this anymore. Please inject me. I can't. I would ring my bell again and again. Please, I'm in pain. Can you just inject me? Can you just. That's just how much pain I was, and I have no better way to explain it. I remember my sister kept on buying me headphones because the other pair was broken by then. So she put me another headphones because I really love music. So I would put on the headphones, and after the injection, I would just put on the headphones and try to find myself to sleep. Yeah. And the other pains were, so one day this other physiotherapist comes in and says, girl, you have to walk. She just says, girl, you have to walk. So she takes me off the bed, brings in the Z frame. Z frame, for those who don't know, a Z frame, it's like almost a meter and a half or a meter something, say just meter 30, meter 40 high, where you hold in your hands on that frame and it helps you to move. So my room was closest to the next station. I think it was about 6 or so meters away from the next station from my door. So she puts me down from my bed and we walk. Uh, I don't walk. She's literally behind me, moving my other leg in front of the other. But I'm in a lot of pain. I'm just crying and laughing at the same time because I was now friends with almost all the nurses and all the nurse aides. They're like, Konda, you're out of bed. We are excited. I'm like, guys, I'm in pain. They're like, no, you're going to be fine. So I was crying and laughing at the same time, which I do a lot. But then at this time, it was real. The pain was just so much. It took me 1 hour to get to the next station that was 6 meters away from my door and back. One amazing hour. When she put me back, I had so much pain. And then the next day, imagine with all the progress that I was making, uh, I wake up the next day because I had these physio stockings that they give you when you are bedridden so that your blood doesn't for circulation, for easy blood circulation. They give you the stockings that you wear. I wake up the next day after this long walk to and from the next station with a Z-frame for the first time in months. And then I wake up and the only leg that I had that was functional was swollen to forever. And it can't move. It's like I didn't wake up. It's like I was just in bed all this while. And then when I was asking for a bedpan, I opened the sheet and I was like, what's going on with my leg? What happened? So, as a person who had been in hospital for more than 2 months by then, I knew the process was like, the doctor is definitely going to come and say, we're stopping physio. And after he says, you're going to stop physio, I'm going to go for scans, going to do diagnosis, depending on how long the results are going to come out. They're going to try me on some medication. And to me, that meant more days in the hospital, which that was not my plan. My plan was to leave this hospital as soon as possible, you know? I remember just talking to God and saying, Wadi, why? Why do you have to keep me in this place? I was making progress. Why this? And the doctor came and then said, we're stopping physio, blah, blah, blah. And the process went on and I went for another. And it was not going down. It kept on, remaining swollen like that. They said maybe it's thrombosis. I was like, oh, I want to have a injury. I've broken, fractured ribs and back, and I have chest pains. I can't breathe properly. Now I have thrombosis. What is this? So, someone like a person was not able to use her phone. I went on, hey, Uncle Google, what is thrombosis? The first thing I saw was life threatening. It can cause a heart attack, a stroke, and the moment it hits you, you're gone. I'm like, no, 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 no. Is this why we stop physio? So that I can get thrombosis and die? Pain, pain, pain. So I remember reading a certain verse that talked about a report, believing a report. Whose report are you going to believe? I remember asking the doc and saying, Doc, generally, how long am I going to stay in the hospital? Or how long am I going to take to recover? Knowing that he had said, no, you have to go and have a CT scan, going to have an X-ray, also going to have a Doppler scan to check for thrombosis so that we cancel it out because it was just swelling and swelling. It was so painful. It was. Then he looked at me and he said 6 months. I did not look back to him. I just turned and looked the other side. And he said 6 to 12 months. I was like, 6 months gets me to December to remember. That's all I could say. Whose report are you going to believe? So, yeah, the leg thing is going on. But on the other hand, I'm growing smaller and smaller. And there's no bowel movement since Pari to Dandaro. There is no bowel movement. I'm taking in liquid paraffin. The bowel movement issue was also in addition to the fact that I was not moving, immobilization, being bedridden, 1. 2, I was not eating. But then they kept on giving me liquid paraffin, but I wasn't going to the toilet. But now I was taking pethidine and the dose of pethidine was very high. Apparently, you're not supposed to take pethidine for more than 6 weeks because it can also kill you. But then pethidine and morphine are like almost the same drug. So since I was not taking 25 pills of morphine every 4 hours in Pari, when I go to London, I was taking pethidine 3 times a day. After the physio sessions in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, like around midnight. So somehow my body just started growing small. It's getting smaller and darker, smaller and darker. The pethidine was eating me up, and already I was suffering from its effects before its due time. Why? Because already I had morphine in my body, and I was never slowly withdrawn from it. I was just cut from morphine and into pethidine. So I remember one night I couldn't take in even water, and I said, give me the Komodo. I was usually they would bring the bedpan just for me to urinate. I said, give me the Komodo. I sat on the Komodo for hours and hours. No bowel movement. I cried. The night the hospital night I was waiting was wet with sweat. Nothing was coming out. And the sisters kept on watching me on the camera until they came and picked me up. I remember I slept several times. I'll be out of strain, out of pain. And they came and said, no, Kunda, it's enough. If you're not feeling to have any bowel movement, you will try again tomorrow, not today. Already you're getting worse. Your legs are swollen. Your body is broken down. You cannot handle the pressure anymore. Put me back on the bed, put a drip. They tried. That was the worst. So I started having convulsions, like really serious seizures and convulsions. And I remember sending a message to the doctor because at that time I could type, I could use my phone and say that, Doc, I'm having these problems and these problems. And he said, I think we should now start withdrawing you from pethidine. I think it is like it's already affecting you. And of all the strong painkillers I was taking, tramadol, I was taking this, I was taking that, injections, drips, IVs, pills. I was like, if they stop injecting me pethidine, how am I going to at least find an hour to sleep? So one of the last pains I'm going to talk about is withdrawal pains. So the day they decided to stop giving me pethidine, I was supposed to go for an what some nerve conduction to check my nerves because my legs were now clawing because my nerves were dying and I was losing sense even on the other leg. So it said we should go for nerve conduction and check the nerves or at least conduct them so that they can, transmit some electricity and start working. That day I had a very painful physio session, and that was the day when they had stopped giving me Betadine. What made me sleep was just the pain. But I'll tell you this amazing experience I had as I was sitting, as I was sitting and that bed waiting for that person that was going. I was like, one day I'm in pain. God, I'm in pain. I'm in pain. And I was putting on my headphones. And I just felt like someone came in and just injected me. And then I just slept. Then I just slept. But actually no one came to inject to me. That was God saying, Kundi, I'm your painkiller. I know you want better than right now. You think it's the one that has been helping you to sleep and taking away the pain, but I'm the only one who can take away the pain from you. So it's okay. That's how I dropped that afternoon and waited for the ambulance to come so that I can go for the nerve conduction. Whew. What an episode, right? Pretty dramatic one. But I think it's necessary. It's good for me. Home. I won't say much about the hospital pain. There's a lot. I think that's most about the hospital pain. Home now. When I came back home, I was still unable to walk, but my continence was a bit better. But still, my left side was not yet functional, so I was coming home to do full-time physio. And so as soon as I got home, after some few days, I started having these violent seizures that will go on for 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, or I would just wake up choking on my tongue. For those who don't know seizures, it's like your body goes on a rest and you start like uh, sensing shock in your body, continuous shock, continuous shock, continuous shock. You can do this. This can happen consciously, unconsciously. Some they have form building up, but me, I will just have my tongue going, and then the shock. My hands will start clawing, my legs will start clawing, and they'll be so hard. And I remember I would have my dad trying to straighten my toes, my feet, someone straightening my fingers, someone trying to. At this moment, I just feel like I'm having an out of body experience. Like I'm just seeing myself sleeping there, shaking and having all those shocks coming in my body, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I didn't even know what to do. Oh, Jesus. Seizures were the worst. Physiotherapy, when I got here, my legs were still swollen. And I remember my physiotherapist would bring up all types of methods. I remember I brought in the brush, he introduced the ice. It's like, anyway, what would get me through all this was um, music, specifically worship music. There's a song by Naomi which says one name only. That a song came out that season when the accident just happened, and the one called VIP. I would play that one a lot. Infirm Foundation. I would play that one a lot. I like the part where she said, "I still got joy in chaos. I'm not held by my own strength." It was chaotic. Getting to wait for people to give you a bedpan so that you could help yourself. and then trying to make sure that they're in the mood to help you. You also don't know whether you should, like, do number two. Are they okay with it? Of course, everyone is ready to help someone who's sick, but sometimes they might have down days, sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're having maybe mood swings, sometimes they're, and you are like hesitating. You're just wishing, Mari, oh God, why is it that I'm unable to do things by myself? I think that was one of the hardest things that I experienced, being unable to help myself, because all my life, all I've been taught is to be able to do things by myself. Everything. I barely send people to do things for me. I do things by myself. I'm one of those people who are hands on. I can delegate and also delegate myself at the same time. And this was really hard for me. It was really painful too. Sometimes I'll just say, there was a time when I had a urinary tract infection because of staying in bed and using the bedpan. So this infection would cause you to urinate continuously, and not just like urinate like 2 meals, like a lot of urine. And imagine asking a bedpan, someone leaves whatever they're doing and they bring you a bedpan. And as soon as they deliver the bedpan and go back, you're like, you want the bedpan again. In my head, I'll then play the irritation, and I'll be like, these people, they're just being patient with me. I wish I could just stand up and just go to the toilet by myself and bath myself. And, sometimes I had so much pain in certain areas, but I couldn't say it out because the person who was bathing me, they're just helping me. And the more I point out the point areas that hurt me the most, I might just be, it's crazy. It's crazy. Recovery is hard. You cannot do it by yourself. You need people pushing you. You need people. Okay, what I learned during this time was God sends men to men, and God never remains quiet. God is faithful. I also learned that before you do the action of desiring to recover, you must desire to recover inside. Do you want to recover? Are you ready to go that extra mile? I also learned the importance of siblings and family. I thought to myself, if I did not have a sister, shout out to my daddy. Thank you for always being there. Um, I also learned that it's a long way and you have to ease in. Up until the time I came home and I was going to August, I was still in denial. I thought at least by September. I remember even asking my HR manager, my catchment HR manager, can I work from home? And he was like, yeah, we need a letter from the doctor. I was like, let me talk to my doctor. Hi, doc, how are you? So I talked to my HR. He said, if I get a letter from you that allows me to work from home, I can start working from home. Me being me. And then I was like, Pandai, let's see next September. That was in August. Then I knew it's not going to happen anytime soon. I was running away from the fact that in that season, it was not really about me trying to get back to myself and, being all busy and just being myself. No, it was about recovering, mentally recovering, physically recovering, spiritually recovering, and regaining strength and being confident in what God was doing and trusting the process. Trust me, it's not a 1 day thing. You don't just wake up trusting the process. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. No, it doesn't. But as I finish off this episode, this long episode, this is like a section B, section E, C, D, Z of episode number 2. Pain propels you. It's either propels you positively or propels you negatively. I can confidently say I was pulled both ends. At some point, I'll be propelled backwards. discouraged of the time and the process, the duration that it's taking for me to move and recover. Sometimes it prepare me forward. When I see a certain change, I remember seeing my left toe moving. I screamed. I couldn't wait for people to come so that I showcase exhibit 1A of recovery. Sometimes pain is for a purpose, and even if you don't know it, just trust in God. Oh God, you're not going to let this pain just go down the drain like that. It has to bring a result. I started trying to attach this pain to some certain areas of my life that needed a turnaround in my family, in my personal life. I said, God, I will not let this pain go. I remember posting this statement on WhatsApp status saying, there's nothing wrong with pain, uh, but staying in pain. There's nothing about wrong with being tired, but staying tired is wrong. Staying in pain is wrong. You have to do something about it. Suffering is not acceptable. Pain is inevitable. Sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes it's unavoidable. But suffering because of that pain now is sometimes it's a choice, because suffering is now more mental. You're not thinking through the pain. Like what I'll do sometimes, I would think, what if this pain that I'm feeling will just develop other illnesses and I'll just get worse? All this strange medication. I remember I was saying to my mother at one point, I could not see properly. I could not look at the screen for more than 10 minutes. The next message would be dull, dim. I couldn't see, cloudy. It was because I was taking that drug for too long. I was taking a very high dosage. And the moment I started experiencing those things, that pain would propel me negatively. So all I want to say is, when you're going to experience pain, choose not to suffer. When it tries to propel you in any direction, gather yourself together and choose the positive direction. Choose to see it through. Choose to make it a stepping stone and say, if I'm ever going to feel this level of pain again, I'm going to be on another level. It's not going to be a surprise. If I see someone going through this level of pain, I want them to know that it's going to pass away, and this too shall pass away, says the word of God. So I just want to thank God. I want to thank God for those who stood by me in those times and would remind me of where I was. It remind me of the drains. It remind me of all sorts of sufferings that I have heard before, and they'll just remind me to be calm and collected and to be thankful of all that. Yeah. I've tried to exhaust some specific areas that stood out during the time that I was. Right now, currently, I have a lot of back pain, and my left leg has a lot of pain, of course, and headaches and seizures. But sometimes I wake up and I don't feel anything. Not because nothing will be happening, but it's like sometimes you get used to the pain. And it's only when it's above board and beyond the normal that you then say, it's too much today. So one more time, God bless you. Thank you for listening. I hope it makes you stronger. I hope it makes you make the wisest of decisions and make you hold on, because there's definitely a brighter light on the other side of the tunnel. Cheers. God bless.